fangs that they can inject venom into their prey. So just a couple of orders that I wish to acquaint you with. You've probably heard that spiders are arachnids, but spiders are just one class of arachnids. They're in the order Arachnid. Their chelicerae are modified into fangs, which they use to envenomate their prey, subdue their prey. They produce silk, spider silk, from spinnerets, which they can use not just for producing webs, but they can use them for a lot of other useful functions as well. And males use their pedipalps to mate. They produce their sperm, which they then carry on their pedipalps and implant them in the females. Scorpions are in an order that should be easy to remember, the Scorpiones. They have chelate pedipalps. Those pedipalps are actually those pincer-like things that you may have thought of as being arms or arm-like, but really they are mouth parts. And they are famous for having that sting on the end of their tail. The technical term for that tail part is the metazoma. And around here in Auburn, you're only going to find one species, which is Vajovis carolinensis. If you go down to the coast, you pick up a couple of other species of scorpions. And if you go north, you get different species of scorpions. But here in Auburn, we only have one native species, which is this little brown scorpion. And sometimes people find them in their homes. I've had students who will text me or email me and say, "Hey, Dr. Zanzo, I found a scorpion and I know exactly what species it is because you told me so." So hopefully that'll be some of you all someday. Vajovis carolinensis, it can sting you and it will hurt, but it won't kill you. It won't kill you. I think it would have to sting you. I don't know how it could do severe damage to you unless it gets you in a particularly sensitive area. But it's like a wasp sting. It'll hurt, but you'll get through it. The order Acari are your mites and your ticks. They are also arachnids. And daddy longlegs, or granddaddy longlegs, as folks around here like to call them, are actually not spiders. They are in a separate order of arachnids. So they are arachnids, but they are not spiders. They are in this separate group called the Opaliones. So this guy over here is a granddaddy longlegs, which is an opalionid. This is a spider. How do you tell the difference? Well, in spiders, the tagmosis is such that they usually have this narrow waist area separating the prosoma from the epistosoma, whereas in granddaddy longlegs, they are more broadly attached to each other. So here's the head, and here's the prosoma in the epistosoma. So they are not the same thing. And granddaddy longlegs, they're not going to hurt you. They're not going to bite you. Some people are told that they have some of the most powerful venom in the world. Only if they bite you, their fangs aren't powerful enough to get the venom inside you. But if they could, it would kill you. And none of that's true. None of that's true. Daddy longlegs are detritivores. They're not predators. And they don't have venom, and they're not going to hurt you. Believe me, we do a lot more harm to daddy longlegs just in our daily life than daddy longlegs ever did to a person. And if you don't believe me, just ask around. Ask if anyone has ever been bitten by a daddy longlegs or knows somebody who has been bitten by a daddy longlegs. And if they say that they have, they're probably not telling the truth. All right, subphylum Crustacea. So there are an awful lot of crustaceans, so many that it's kind of hard to say Are they a subphylum? Are they a class? The answer is they are a monophyletic taxon, for sure. But exactly what taxonomic level we should consider them to be, they're definitely arthropods, so they're not a phylum of their own, because they're derived from within the phylum Arthropoda. But some folks consider them to be a subphylum, some people consider them to be a class. Some people consider them to be both a subphylum with a single class, Crustacea. Marine! Exclamation point. That's what they're famous for being. But there are also freshwater crustaceans and terrestrial crustaceans. They have a lot of things are doubled in your crustaceans. For example, the antennae are doubled, and the appendages tend to be branched, or biramous is the technical term for having branched two-part appendages. This gets us out of the Chelicerata and into the Mandibulata. Mandibulata are arthropods that have more jaw-like mouth parts as opposed to the pincer-like or chelate mouth parts. The tagmosis of crustaceans, they have a cephalothorax and an abdomen. So we've got two orders that I want you to know about. I'm going to hold you responsible for. There are others, but they tend to be small and not something you're likely to see on a trip to the beach, or just walking around in your daily life. But copepods, these are those things that are vectors for the guinea worm that I was telling you about. We can find these in a lot of freshwater habitats. There are a huge number of copepods out there. Barnacles also are in this order Maxillopoda. Barnacles are weird animals. You see these things, and there's nothing about them that really screams crustacean to you. But if you were to dissect one, you would see that it's got all of those jointed appendages and parts. That it's just kind of weird because as adults, they are sessile. They attach to things like all kinds of things that you find at the beach. Our other order that I'm going to hold you to are the Malacostraca. Malacostraca. This includes isopods, amphipods, krill, which you've probably learned are the thing that whales eat. They're a type of crustacean. And then decapods. Decapod means 10 feet, and it essentially includes all of the crustaceans that people like to eat. So crabs, lobsters, shrimp, crayfish, those are all decapods. But also in the Malacostraca is this guy here, a roly-poly. A roly-poly is not an insect, it's not a spider, it's not a daddy long legs, but it is an arthropod, and it's actually a crustacean. It's a terrestrial crustacean in the Malacostraca. And I like that its scientific name is Armadillidium. It's a little tiny armadillo. This gets us into our third subphylum, which is the Uniramia, which means single-branched appendages. These are all mandibulate arthropods that have unbranched or uniramous appendages and a single pair of antennae. So all of our mandibulate arthropods have antennae. None of our chelicerate arthropods have antennae. Within the Uniramia, we've got three classes to learn. The Cheilopoda are the centipedes. Centipedes don't truly have 100 legs. They can have anywhere from about 30 to over 300. And they have one pair of legs per segment. per trunk segment. Their tagmosis is such that they have a head, here's the head, and a trunk. And a trunk is kind of undefined as to how many segments it might have, but it might have, however, 1, 2, 3, this many, or it might have this many. Who knows how many this guy has. But centipedes are predaceous. They are predators. They hunt. And they subdue their prey with these poison claws that are found on the first trunk segment after the head, and on the ventral surface, or on the belly surface. So 1 pair of legs per segment means you've got a centipede, and you should not pick up a centipede if you find one, unless you're feeling brave and don't care if you get pinched. The poison of centipedes around here, there's nothing that's going to really harm you significantly. It could, sting you and give you some discomfort, but not going to kill you. But if you go into the tropics, there are much larger centipedes that are much more of a threat to you. I don't know if there are any that are lethal, but good rule of thumb, don't mess with centipedes. Millipedes, by contrast, they are detritivores. They feed on dead stuff. So they are not hunters. They can protect themselves. They have glands that secrete a repugnatory secretion, or something to kind of make you sorry that you messed with it. The repugnatory secretion is has cyanide in it. So if you pick up a millipede, it secretes its secretion from its glands. It might have kind of an almondy smell to it, like almonds, and that's due to the cyanide that's present in there. Now, how do you tell the difference between a millipede and a centipede? Millipedes have 2 pairs of legs per segment, which is not entirely true. They don't have 1,000 legs, just like centipedes don't have 100 legs, but they have more legs, typically, than centipedes. So really what's going on is that the segments, every 2 segments have become fused through evolutionary time in millipedes. So really they have 2 pairs of legs per diplosegment. So you can see evidence of the fusion of these segments into diplosegments by these furrows that are present. So if you take a close look at any millipede, you should see those furrows that are vestiges of what used to be individual segments, but now they're combined into these diplosegments. So you can pick up a millipede and not worry about being harmed. It might get scared, and it might try and repel you, but they're not going to hurt you.